with Judge Jeanine Pirro. I wanted to get into the book a little. You tackle the anti-Trump conspiracy in your new book called Liars, Leakers, and Liberals. Now, that title could be offensive to some.
In today's age, you think?
I thought she was describing the Trump White House. Liars, leakers, and liberals.
So, tell us about the title and why you wrote the book.
Well, I wrote the book because I'm not an ideologue. I mean, I have been in the crime business for over 3 decades, and I think I said that before. And I know a con when I see it. And I think that what has happened in the last, truly in the last campaign, and everybody needs to be concerned about that. Lady Justice is supposed to be blind. And when you start creating fake investigations, fake counterintelligence, you saw it yourself with Peter Strzok, who comes out and basically says he hates the president and he's going to take care of everything. They then go to a judge and get a warrant. That's a problem for me, and it should be a problem.
Can I ask you, you just said your
warrant. Look, I've been a judge. I've signed those things. The warrant was based on a fake document by an opposing candidate in a national presidential race. This is what happens in third world countries.
It was not only based on that, and you know that.
I do know. It is
Jeanine, you just said you're not an ideologue.
No, I'm not. I am in law enforcement.
Let me ask you the question.
It's right and wrong.
Do you think Donald Trump embraces and embodies conservative ideology? Remember, he used to be have a different position on pro-choice. He's imposing tariffs. He's against globalism. Do you think he is an ideologue that is faithful to conservative policies?
You know, I'm not here to talk about what Donald Trump is and isn't.
But you talk about it. No, you got to answer the question.
I'm here to talk about the book. You want to talk about Donald Trump? You tell me what metric in this country is worse off. Unemployment is lower than it's been in 50 years. Minorities, Hispanics, African Americans have jobs.
Hate crimes are worse off.
And wait a minute, the GDP under Obama was barely 1. We're going up to 4. So you want to talk about hate crime?
I'll tell you about a metric.
I fought for a law for hate crime.
I also think it's important, as we said, 89% of the Republican Party still supports him. He still has huge popularity in the country. And if Democrats don't get their you-know-what together, he's certainly going to get reelected.
Here's my question for you. Here's my question for you, because you talk about...
I am not, Judge.
Nobody is...
Oh, yeah.
Did you just point at me?
Yes.
Listen, I don't have Trump derangement. Let me tell you what I have.
Okay.
I have a lot of... I'm tired of people starting a conversation with Mexicans or liars and rapists. I'm tired of people starting a conversation about this country. Listen, I'm 62 years old. There have been a lot of people in office that I didn't agree with, but I have never, ever seen anything like this. I've never seen anybody whip up such hate. I've never seen anybody be so dismissive. And clearly you don't watch the show, so you don't know that I don't suffer from that. What I suffer from is the inability to figure out how to fix this. That's my issue. But one of the things that you talk about a lot, and I'm curious about it, is the deep state. How long has the deep state been there, and who's running it?
Well, I want to answer your question because you had
you a question.
You had your opening statement, which was how horrible it is that Donald Trump is talking about all of these people.
I'm sorry, baby, that's what you said. You said,
Whoopi, you know what's horrible?
That
when people who shouldn't
okay.
be here end up murdering the children of American citizens.
You know what's horrible?
When
the president of the United States whips up people to beat the hell out of people.
No.
Say goodbye.
Let me buy. I'm done.
Thank you to Judge Jeanine Pirro. Her book, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals, is out now. We will be right back.
So, welcome back. So you saw me do something I very rarely do. I very rarely lose my cool, and I'm not proud of it. I don't like it. But I also don't like being accused of being hysterical, because that's one of the things I try not to be on this show. So, have a great day.
Go enjoy the view.
Yeah.
Thank you to Anna Navarro. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. Take a little time to enjoy the view. Bye, y'all.
Macroeconomics is not my deal. I'm just explaining why his numbers are down. So the people see $1 trillion of their tax money and nothing to show for it yet. But they also see a widening gulf between the president and them personally. And that's what I write about in Pinheads and Patriots. All right, let me give you an example. The mosque down here on 9/11. That's inappropriate. It's sure they have a right to do it, and in the Constitution, but it's inappropriate because a lot of the 9/11 families, who I know, say, "Look, we don't want that.
Yeah,
That shouldn't be there."
But what about the
No. But there's the president. There's the president going, "Well, they have a right to do it."
Yes.
And then the guy
This is
says,
America.
and then the
This is America.
hold it. Listen to me, because you'll learn. All right. Thank you. So he says to the press, yeah, they have a right to do it, and that's true.
Yeah.
And then the question is, but what about the wisdom of it, Mr. President? And he goes, I'm not going to comment. Whereupon everybody in the country goes, what?
Well, wait a minute. Let me ask you this.
Let me
ask you this. So you're saying that Americans are not smart enough to recognize that while it is part of our Constitution to say the freedom of religion and freedom to worship, and there were 70 families who are Muslim who also died in that building. Yeah. So you're saying that that his saying that they have the right to do it and not saying any more than that is why his approval rating has gone down?
I'm showing that there is a gulf between Americans wanted to know what his opinion was on the issue, and he wouldn't give it.
We're Americans.
That's one thing.
But
You agree with it.
No,
Most
we're
Americans.
I'm an American.
Let me break this to you. 70% of Americans don't want that mosque down there. So don't give me the we business.
I want to see that.
You want to bet on that? You want to bet? I'll show you that poll in a minute.
All I'm saying is that
Americans don't want
70% don't want it
But
down
why
there.
is that? But why aren't we
Because
saying...
it's inappropriate.
Why is it inappropriate when 70 families died?
Muslims
What are you
killed
talking
us
about?
on 9/11.
Oh, my God. That is...
Muslims didn't kill us on 9/11? Is that what you're saying?
Excuse me, extremists
What
did
religion
that.
were they in?
What religion was Mr. McVeigh? Mr. McVeigh was an extremist
I'm
as well,
telling
and
you,
he killed people.
70% of the country.
I don't want to sit here. I don't want to sit here.
You're outraged about Muslims killed us on 9/11.
Let's really talk about what's so important.
So, look, all I can say is, have you no shame, sir? Have you no shame? Have you no shame? I mean, that you would bring up, I can't, because I'm infuriated, you know.
But you also love the troops. It's one of the first conversations.
I love my troops, and I'll tell you why. Because I grew up in Chelsea, right here in New York, and we sent many to fight in Vietnam. And some came back and did terrible things to themselves. Terrible things to themselves. So for me, if your kids haven't gone, or you didn't go, I need you to have a whole different mindset with the folks who went. Even if you, whatever our politics is, whatever the politics is, this is the one place we should all be able to say, hey, we're going to stand up and salute. We're going to pay attention, because these people went and did what we didn't, what he certainly didn't. And whether he, you know, was cavalier or whatever, you must, in talking to people whose families have gone to fight for this country, you must have empathy. You must remember who these people are. And I'm like this in part, my hands are like this in part, because, you know, you just received a thinly veiled threat from the new guy over a speech that he gave after he received the Liberty Medal. So take a look.
Use the obligations of international leadership and our duty to remain the last best hope of Earth for the sake of some half-baked, spurious nationalism cooked up by people who would rather find scapegoats than solve problems.
You heard what he said yesterday, Senator McCain.
Yeah, well, I hear it, and people have to be careful, because at some point I fight back.
Yeah.
You know, I'm being very nice. I'm being very, very nice. But at some point I fight back, and it won't be pretty.
Oh, shut up. Mister, again, all I can say is, have you no shame? No. Have you no shame? Have you no shame? Damn. You know, you tweeting about the NFL, man. What are you doing?